Hello, and welcome to Media Philosophy, where we discuss the deeper side of entertainment. Now, as we march forward into the next decade, there have been some real startling changes in human relationships. As things are becoming more polarized, people are becoming more exclusive with who they choose to associate with. One big change in the dating realm is that political affiliation has become an even more important factor when choosing a partner. For example, more Democrats want to date Democrats and Republicans want to date Republicans. Now, this is troubling because the world is made up of tons of people with varying ideas, beliefs, convictions, and by shutting yourself off to certain populations, not only are you maybe losing out on a new perspective of the world, but on potential relationships as well. So, how can we get along with people that we don't necessarily like or agree with? In these trying times, we need a role model, and not just one, but four. The four boys from South Park are great models for how to navigate the modern relationship. Through verbal arguments, name-calling, and even physical conflicts, they still manage to interact with one another on a day-to-day basis. And they don't even like each other. So, what exactly makes their relationship so special? First of all, they don't take crap from one another. I've read tons of threads on Reddit or Facebook about longtime friends or family doing or saying something that offends the original poster, and then scores of people rally around them, urging them to get those people out of their life. Now, I'm not going to advocate for putting up with truly toxic behavior, but we need to understand the difference between, an off-color comment and truly hateful actions. So, when someone says something dumb to you, don't just cut them out of your life. Sling that shit right back at them. The boys are always ripping on each other for various reasons. Kenny's poverty, Cartman's weight, Kyle's Jewness. They don't just storm off angrily when they get made fun of. Well, not all of them.
Screw you guys, I'm going home. Cartman, screw you guys, home.
They get even with one another through a verbal quip and just move on. Hell, even Butters, the punching bag, gets his pot shots in every once in a while.
Now, let me tell you something, fellas. You always take advantage of me, and after reading Catcher in the Rye, I've learned you're nothing but phonies.
It's hard to communicate in real time, and people want to be funny. Unfortunately, a lot of people confuse stupid and edgy with actual humor. But that's not something we should crucify them for. Call them out or something. A little bit of social shaming can go a very long way. And we're going to hear a lot of uncouth things throughout our lives, and probably even say some ourselves. But the last thing we want to do is give these people some, power. If we, act up and just, run out the building,
Screw you guys,
they're going to feel like they won. And we're going to come across a lot of assholes in our lives. So make sure you got a few quick one-liners in your back pocket. Next, people with differing opinions and ideas may be right sometimes. Echo chambers can be very dangerous because they often support an idea with little to no critical thinking, while those with differing perspectives are shouted down. How can we develop stronger ideas if they're never tested? Developing a good argument is a lot like weight training. You gotta work your muscles out, break them down, so then they can be built back up stronger. Same goes with arguments. One of my best friends is a major contrarian. It doesn't matter what I say, he always has some sort of counterpoint. And while it can be hard just to have a straightforward conversation with him, I always walk away with our talks with something to think about. Look at Eric Cartman within the context of the group. He's an idiotic, self-serving, bigoted asshole, to say the least. But sometimes he comes up with good ideas. For every dumb idea he has, there's one that saves the day. So while the boys hate on Cartman, when he has a good idea, they listen. And finally, the boys understand the importance of having a history. The boys have known each other for practically their entire lives. That sort of history cannot be faked. It always makes me sad when I read comments about people leaving long-term friends for silly small infractions. Again, I need to stress that I am not suggesting you put up with true abuse for the sake of a long-term relationship. Have some boundaries. But realize that being so close with somebody for so long changes the dynamic of the relationship. People are going to make mistakes, but instead of holding them to a higher standard, just be more understanding and forgiving because of what you two have been through. A friendship spanning years or decades is special and should be cherished, not abandoned at the first sign of trouble. You can't fake history. And that doesn't just go for friendships. Think about coworkers you may not be the fondest of. Regardless of your feelings, you may have worked together through some really tough times and overcame conflicts that other people will never understand. You don't have to love all your coworkers, but you've probably survived some really crazy stuff like the holiday shopping season, or maybe you had to work through the release of Marvel's Endgame. And that's a bond that can never be broken. And this video is not just about friendships. When our teachers paired us up in class and said that we're going to have to work with people that we don't like, well, they were right. And it's not even working with people. It's our neighbors, people at parties, and just others navigating life. A lot of the kids at South Park Elementary don't even like each other. Craig thinks the boys are assholes, the boys make fun of the girls, and vice versa. Hell, the Gingers almost committed genocide one time, but no one is excluding themselves from the group, and if they did, they'd just be hurting themselves. The school realizes that they are stronger as a whole. Each character, for better or worse, brings their own unique quirks and talents that add to their community. They stay strong together by keeping one another in check, making fun of each other, being open-minded about one another's ideas, even if they don't agree politically, and by recognizing the history that they had with one another. If Wendy and Eric can get along despite their differences, then you can get along with that one guy who really irks you. This has been Media Philosophy, taking a deeper look at entertainment.